Hi, I'm James. I play bass in the Birmingham-based post-hardcore band iD14.
And I'm Matt, and I play guitar, and I'm one of the vocalists in the band.
We're going to take you through the recording process behind our debut EP, as well as going through the iD14 and other Audient products that have helped us record it.
So we decided to record this EP at home because we've been to other studios before, like external studios, and whilst we did think they were really good, we sort of felt that we could have a go at doing this ourselves.
So our first experience with Audient was using the iD14, big console, and it was in one of the studios at university. When you finish doing a 3-year course on music tech and you're used to using all of this big gear, you can't purchase all of that over those 3 years and take them home with you. So you've got to have some form of bedroom alternative to then keep up the same kind of standards that we were getting at university at home. So the iD14 really did that.
Okay, so now if we go through the different recording processes.
So the most difficult instrument for recording on this low budget and yourself situation is drums. They're loud and they take up space and they need a lot of microphones to capture. We were very lucky. We got a space at the university, which was a very nice isolated space, and what we did was we brought the ASP800 down with us, so we'd use kick, snare, tom, and overheads. On our tracks, all our overheads are just clean recorded cymbals with a low cut at about 600 hertz, and all of the rest of the drums are a mix between the live drums and boosted by some samples to give it a bit more of a nice consistent sound. So when we record bass, we go straight in through the DI, and we try to put it through whatever amp simulation we're putting on it there and then, and we try to find a tone, for bass at least, very on the spot. Set the buffer size on Logic to as short as possible, and there's no latency. You're just playing along to the drums, and it's just as tight as if you were playing for an amp. When we record the guitars, similar to how we record the bass, we put them through a plug-in simulation. We have recorded with cabs and amps in the past, but then again, we're going back to some of those disadvantages of recording in your bedroom. It's all about noise isolation and room acoustics when you're recording those. So I think that's why we elected to go for a simulation over attempting to get a really good cab recording.
Yeah, because obviously the main benefit of using a plugin is once you've got that nice clean signal coming in through the DI, you can change to whatever tone you want.
It's too simple and too easy to not do if you're in a situation like us with limited resources and limited time.
I think the most important thing for us when recording bass and guitar is just to ensure that we get a very, very clean signal, and we get that with the iD14. So for vocals, this is like the first time we're using a microphone in this room. So it is very important that we try to eliminate noise from outside as much as possible. We haven't got loads of professional noise isolation gear, so what we do is we use a mattress, stick that in front of Alex or me, whoever's singing, just to try and eliminate reflections as much as possible, because again, we want to try and get a really clean, unprocessed sound so that we can add and have complete control over what effects like reverb, delay later.
We run the vocal microphone into input 2, and then we run this little bad boy, just a nice little SM58, just on the desk, straight into input 1, and we assign that as the talkback. What that means is when you hit the ID button, it dims everything in the headphones and lets the microphone come through very, very clear, which is great for giving cues, giving feedback, and just keeping everyone on the same page as what's going on next.
We tend to use 2 microphones. We use the Rode NT2A condenser mic for clean vocals, and we use the SM7B for screen vocals. And yeah, we just think they work really well. Not too expensive as well.
Going back to what we were saying when we first started doing the vocals in this room is we're really hard pressed to isolate the vocals and reduce all the background noise that's going on. So any noise needs to be minimised, and the iD14 does really, really well at keeping that really clean. And it's difficult to kind of listen with fresh ears when you're there doing every process. So when Matt and I mix, we do separate it. So Matt gets it to a stage, then Matt's no longer involved. I do a mix of it. The outputs on the iD14 give a really accurate representation of the sound that's coming out of your mix. So if there's anything wrong with your mixing, then you can hear it and you can correct it. And there are some pieces of gear out there which just add a little bit of noise just from listening, which hide the fact that you've got problems with your mix. iD14's been really good for us. Just 2 channels, both with phantom power, really good DI, speaker and headphone out, which is just really clear, and a good interactive interface. It's just been easy. It's just made our lives easier.